Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just take a second to get our presentation up on the screen for you. I also have a handout today. It's in a little white folder. And in your folder, there will be a copy of the slides, a little bit of information on the longevity and maintenance of concrete pressure pipe, and a number of letters from municipalities that are common users of concrete pressure pipe, including the City of Ottawa, the City of Thunder Bay, the City of Montreal, the region of Peel, and the region of Durham. My presentation this morning is really a follow-up to a presentation you had a few weeks ago regarding the supply of large diameter pipe for your water main. And until very recently, concrete pressure pipe was the product specified in the City of Hamilton, the sole product specified. The committee has chosen to change that a little bit, and we're here to talk to you a little bit about our products and just make sure that you know who we are, and if there's any issues that you have with our products, that we're certainly able to talk to them. I'm going to start this morning. This is our first slide. The second slide is a history of the industry. And you'll notice we track the history of concrete pressure pipe in Ontario from 1943 to present. Up until a few years ago, there was always at least 2 manufacturers of concrete pressure pipe in the province of Ontario. That is again the case, but for a couple of years there was only one, through amalgamations and mergers and things like that. So our history goes back to 1943, and it's a product that has stood the test of time. The main purpose for concrete pressure pipe is municipal waterworks. It is the primary purpose, and it is in large diameter. I'm just going to turn on the light. It is in large diameter piping. It's for distribution mains and transmission mains, primarily for transmission mains, which are the larger diameter. Morning, Councillor. In addition, concrete pressure pipe is used for sewage force mains, outfalls and water intakes, power, industrial and other plants, cooling systems, chlorine contact tanks, all very, very necessary to the longevity of our infrastructure here in Ontario. As mentioned previously, concrete pressure pipe has been in common use since 1943 in Canada, and it's used in all 10 provinces. In Canada and the United States, there's some 56 million feet of concrete pressure pipe that has been installed over the past 60 years. In Ontario, the municipalities that use our products extensively are on the screen, starting with Peel and ending with Quebec City. So a lot of very big municipalities with a lot of big infrastructure use our products. The next slide talks about the suppliers of concrete pressure pipe, and this slide is North American wide, but I want to just touch upon how concrete pressure pipe is used or is specified throughout Ontario. It is always by open bid. There is always the availability of contractors to use anybody that supplies that product for the project that is under consideration. And in the last 3 years, the top 3 names on the list, Price Brothers, Hyprescon, and Vianini, have all supplied product in Ontario. In addition, at the bottom of the list, you see Monroe. Monroe have just recently completed a new concrete pressure pipe facility in Barrie. So we actually have 2 homegrown guys now, and as you can see, several others in the United States. So there isn't just one supplier of concrete pressure pipe. There are more than one, and it is a very competitive industry amongst my members, which is good for me sometimes and not so good for me at other times. The next slide gives you a little bit of indication of what a concrete pressure pipe does, especially at the joint. You will see that concrete pressure pipe is a product that is composed of steel and of concrete, and the importance of our product is at the joint. The joint is made watertight through the use of a rubber gasket, and on the outside of the rubber gasket and the outside of the bell and spigot is a diaper that's placed, and it is mortar filled, so that prevents corrosion of the steel. There is no part of a concrete pressure pipe, the steel component of the concrete pressure pipe, that touches water, which is great for our product because it prevents corrosion. The next 2 slides talk about material comparisons, and when you get into the use of different products for different infrastructure, there are several issues you have to address. And the staff report that you were given a couple of months ago that was written by the general manager talked about those issues and identified them and addressed those issues. We certainly encourage the council and the committee to consider all of those issues when considering different piping materials and different materials in general, because at the end of the day, that's where your risk is. And risk is something extremely important. It has to be managed. It has to be managed in a cost-effective manner, and I'm sure the committee is fully aware of that and is prepared to deal with those types of issues here in Hamilton. The reasons why our pipe products are so good. Up on the screen you see a slide that talks about security, longevity, flexibility, durability, and rigidity. Those are all the attributes of concrete pressure pipe. And let's remember, concrete pressure pipe, it begins at 400 millimeters in diameter. It's not for small diameter jobs. Every product has their appropriate use. Our product is used in larger diameters, and it's going to stay that way. We're not something that is all things to all people. We have very, very specific uses, and that's where our product should be used. On the use of concrete pressure pipe, there's a very nice quote here from the City of Montreal, a report from the City of Montreal that was done by SNC-Lavalin. And this report was done in an effort to review different pipe materials that were available on the market. And until this report was written, the City of Montreal used exclusively concrete pressure pipe. They did the report to identify the other products for the large diameter, and you can read the quote. We recommend the City of Montreal continue the status quo. This is the engineers, SNC-Lavalin, making this recommendation to the City of Montreal, and for very good reasons. This report is available, as well as some other comparative reports, and they are now up on the screen. The City of Montreal report, a report that was done by the region of Niagara, and also a report that was done by the American Concrete Pressure Pipe Association. All of this information is available to you. I know your staff have it, but if you'd like your own personal copy, we'd be more than happy to help you with that. My last slide, or my second last slide, is a slide that you would have seen a month or so ago. And this is a comparison that was done between some projects that were undertaken in the City of Ottawa compared to some projects that were taking place in London and Kingston and the other one, I forget where it was. But you'll also notice on the bottom of the slide it talks about an 86% cost differential between the jobs in the City of Ottawa and the jobs in other locations. That is for a very good reason. The City of Ottawa has an extremely conservative design standard, extremely conservative. And the prices that you see up on the list differ. They're not one-to-one comparisons. The projects that are on the lower half of the screen are primarily, or almost totally, just pipe. The projects on the upper part of the screen are pipe, fittings, et cetera, et cetera. In addition, the two of the projects at the top are sewage force mains, which bring another element into it because there's corrosion protection or protection against hydrogen sulfide and other issues. So the information is accurate based on the sheet of paper that you see, but behind that sheet of paper, there are questions that have to be asked. And the next slide shows you the questions that should be asked when dealing with these types of comparisons. And if you want to just scroll through them, Gord. These are the issues that have to be asked when you're comparing any product, whether it be pipe or any product for infrastructure. And these are the issues that the staff have to deal with on a project-by-project basis in order to select the appropriate product for the appropriate job. And that's our message today. We believe that the City of Hamilton has a great future in infrastructure, and as Leo has just mentioned, you're really becoming a forerunner in managing your infrastructure in a cost-effective basis. We think you should continue that, and we think concrete pressure pipe should be your number one pipe when you're talking about large diameter transmission and distribution mains. Just one other item, working the computer this morning for me is Mr. Gord Geitch. He's a professional engineer with Hyprescon. and they have 2 plants here in Ontario. And if you have any questions of me or Gord, we'd be more than happy to address them. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Paul. Any questions of the presenter this morning? Councillor Braden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the presenter, can you talk about guarantee, and can you talk? I mean, if there is such a thing in the neighborhood of 20 or 50 years, because we're getting desperate for long-term value, and can you talk about then maintenance in the meantime? I mean, I look at an oval that isn't round, and I think, geez, it's going to be a lot harder to clean that thing out. But that's I don't lay that kind of pipe. But maintenance and guarantees.
Certainly. First of all, when you talk about longevity, studies by organizations such as the National Research Council of Canada and work that has been done by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers suggest that concrete pressure pipe have at least a 100-year life expectancy. And that's good, because a lot of municipalities are spending on their infrastructure at the rate of 1.5% to 2%. So you're expecting your products to last well over 100 years. So our product is really good that way. Secondly, one of the items in your package, this item from the American Concrete Pressure Pipe Association, does a lot of work on maintenance and the ease of maintenance with concrete pressure pipe. Because it keeps its shape, because it doesn't corrode in water installations, because it has a smooth inside wall, it has very good hydraulic characteristics, and it has very good maintenance characteristics when it comes to spending money on it. So that's one of the real attributes about concrete pressure pipe, especially in the large diameters, is that it lasts very well and is of low maintenance.
Any other questions from the committee? No, hearing none. Thank you again, Paul, for coming in this morning, and thank you, Gord, for the presentation. Open it up to members of the committee. Councillor Jackson.
Mr. Chairman, just a political comment. I appreciate the presentations from Leo and Jake and Paul, but I just I find it a little curious. I don't know how the presenters came to be this morning, but I'm glad they're here. I just find it curious how they came to be. And in my years on council, unless my memory's failing me, I don't recall the Hamilton and District Heavy Construction Association or the Ontario Concrete Pipe Association making a presentation before. Now, again, I could be wrong, but in my years on council, both regional and city, I don't recall it. And all this council did a couple of months ago was simply want to open things up to competition. That's all. No exclusivity. We just wanted to open it up to competition. So at least I stand by my decision, and but I appreciate the presentations this morning. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ferguson.
Just Mr. Chair, just a further comment on Councillor Jackson's, the 2 delegations were separate issues. One was, I stand to be corrected, but I assume the first one was just for information. And the second delegation, I think, was to address the plastic versus concrete pipe issue. Through you to Peter or Jim, the motion we passed a month or so ago, that didn't ban quoting concrete pipe. It just broadened the spectrum. Is that not correct?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, it included, or it expanded the material up to 750 millimeter to include not only steel and concrete pressure pipe, but PVC pipe.
It still gives staff the latitude to choose the concrete over the plastic if the conditions arise and if the price is right. That's all. In my opinion, that's all we passed.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes and no. And I say that just because, on a point of clarification, we don't pick the pipe that we use. The pipe materials that are included in the specifications are simply awarded on the basis of low bid. So a contractor will choose the material that we're going to use, and we will select the contractor simply on the basis of low bid. So we don't pick the material.
Low bid, assuming it meets specs.
Low bid, assuming it meets spec, yes.
Thank you. I have no further speakers on the issue, so we'll move on to 7.3.